All right, this next section, they ask us to determine whether x minus c is a factor. If it is, write f in the form of f of x equal to x minus c times the quotient. So they give us a polynomial function and they give us a possible 0c. If it does go into it evenly, like when we just divide synthetically, then we'll write it in this form. So first thing you do is whatever c is, you put here in the corner, so we put a 2 here. Then I write, for each one of these terms, I write the coefficient down. So 1 for x to the 4th, because there's a 1 there, negative 3 for x cubed, 5 for x squared, negative 1 for the x term, and negative 10 for the constant. I always double check. If it's 4th degree, I should have 5 terms, because I should have one more term than the degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I do indeed have them all. Leave room to write something in between. The first thing is you bring the 1 down. 2 times 1 is 2. Add your column, so you get negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Add your column, you get 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Add your column, you get 5. 2 times 5 is 10. And hot diggity dog, it works. If it comes out to be 0, that means that this number went into it evenly and there's no remainder. So it means, yes, it is a factor. X minus c is a factor. So when I write this out, they said write it in the form of, like right here. So I'm going to say f of x is equal to x minus c. They said c was 2, so x minus c will be x minus 2. Okay, and now watch carefully the next thing I do. Right here, this answer we got is called the depressed polynomial. Depressed not because it's feeling blue, but because it's 1 degree less than x to the 4th. So it's x to the 3rd minus x squared plus 3x plus 5. If you ever forget what degree it is, it's the constant is the last one, x to the 1st, x to the 2nd, x to the 3rd. So in here I'll write 1x to the 3rd, these are just the coefficients, minus x squared plus 3x and plus 5. And there's our answer. Pretty easy, huh? All right, let's do our next one. So in the next one, I'm going to put negative 8 in the corner here, and I'm going to write down the coefficients. It doesn't look like I'm missing any, so I put 1 for x cubed, 6 for x squared, negative 14 for x to the 1st, 16 for the constant. 3rd degree function, I should have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I do. So put a line here, bring down the 1. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. Add your column. Negative 8 times negative 2 is 16. Add your column. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. Add your column and you get 0. And yahoo, Mountain Dew, we got it. If it comes out to be 0, you're so happy because yes, it is a 0. All right, and so they just ask us to write it in the form of, and now if it comes out not to be 0, then you would just say no, it's not a 0, and x minus c is not a factor. If it comes out to be anything but 0. All right, so here we'll say f of x is equal to, it's x minus c, so I'm going to say x plus 8 times, then you write down your depressed polynomial, which would be, we started with x to the 3rd, so depressed 1 degree farther down, so this is x squared, 1x squared minus 2x plus 2. And there we go, there's your polynomial function. Okay, our next one, we'll let the 0 be 3. And we have a cubic again, so I put 1 for x cubed, 3 for the x squared, negative 10 for the linear term, and negative 24 is our constant. Put a line, bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Add your column. 3 times 9, 27. Add your column. 3 times 17. Okay, let's say this was an example of how to do it wrong. Do you see what I did wrong? What's 3 plus 3? It is not 9. I apologize. I'm just going to redo it. Sometimes we make mistakes, even when we're filming. All right, let's try again. 1, 3, negative 10, and negative 24. Let's try again. Maybe I can do it right this time. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Add your column, you get 8. 3 times 8, 24. So yes. Okay. don't multiply like I did there. That was an example of how not to do it, but it's okay. We fixed it. F of x is equal to x minus 3 times, this would be, we started with a cubic, so this is just a quadratic, so there's the constant, there's the linear term, there's your quadratic term. So it'll be x squared plus 6x plus 8. There we go. I hope we can still see this. Yep.